Yeah, so in the lore, Mickey was in prison, but he was going to have been liberated to the start of this. And there was a big plot twist later in the game. We realized he wasn't actually liberated by the insurrection or escaped. That he was actually sent here on a secret mission by Oni. Because we haven't really talked much about the characters yet in this, other than the rebel leader, Jayla Jonas was her name. And then there was Sergeant Sakim. So when I said we were talking about dark things the UNSC had done, there was part of what we were thinking was how would, like, social things that socially affect people today, how would those work in the future? So there was idea that at some point turn of the century, the humanity had just flat out committed genocide against Muslims, which, you know, there's people today that are, you know, racist and think that they hold society back, and we kind of wanted to go with a really dark plot that in the Halo world that actually did happen. If you notice, there's never any Muslim or Arabic characters in any of the Halo media. There's like one or two. So the idea was this guy Sergeant Sakim was someone who had reclaimed his old religion and identity and ethnicity and called himself the Arrow because he was always a sniper. And then Jayla Jonas was a woman who didn't want to serve in the military but also couldn't have children. The idea was after the war was done with the Covenant, UNSC always wanted people to repopulate, so there were incentives for people to start families. And if you couldn't start a family, you had to serve the state in some other way. So soldier, scientist, whatever. You also notice in majority of Halo lore, you never hear about people just going about having happy days. Everybody serves something. Even in Sadie's story, in ODST, it's all about her dad working for New Mavasa Transport Department or whatever it is. And Jayla Jonas and a lot of the rebels were people who just didn't want to devote their life to working for the UEG and the UNSC. And there was also a plot with Mickey, because for anyone who ever read Halo New Blood, a lot of people question why Mickey would betray Buck and Romeo and all that, and they perceived it to be a plot hole. I forget if I'm going the right way over here or the wrong way. But we sort of had a very minor subplot that Mickey was swayed over by the insurrectionist leader, not the insurrectionist leader, sorry. The insurrectionist agent in New Blood who swayed him over had kind of manipulated Mickey's emotions and feelings for him, and we were going to reveal that Mickey was actually gay. And that the insurrection had targeted him, knowing that he had no way of having a partner being in military service, and try to emotionally manipulate him into joining their cause through love. And there's a few instances in New Blood that hint to some sort of storyline like that, specifically with the rebel leader talking about how Mickey loved the insurrectionist Spartan who blew himself up and almost killed June. And then there's some other references in there too, how Mickey became withdrawn when Buck was with when Buck had his romance with Dare and Romeo was romancing with the ladies on all the colony worlds. Like, it's very subtle in the text there, but we had a whole bunch of different stuff about how everybody who joined the insurrection was unhappy with life under the UNSC for one reason or other, whether it was the role they were expected as a woman to repopulate the galaxy, whether it be due to genocide against particular religions or groups of people like Sergeant Sakim, or people who just felt lonely and were vulnerable to manipulation like Mickey, solely based on his sexual orientation. Or rather, his sexual orientation in this world, that post-war world of the UNSC, where individual comforts and happiness weren't important as much as servitude for the state.